You can't just build something and it happens. There has to be the plan there. Even at Crown, where I formerly worked, we could have come out with a plan and said direct cremation $495, and that was, the lowest, right? You're not going to find anything lower at that time. We couldn't have expected to just put an ad in the newspaper back then. That's what you would do. And that would just like happen, right? There had to be a plan behind that to drive it, to actually produce growth and produce relationships and do these things. Otherwise, you're relying on the consumer to search you out. And in this online world, that becomes tougher, especially as we think about the online world and the way that people are doing marketing and the websites and things like this. Like all of that plays into this. So just kind of building it. I kind of see this sometimes with a side brand, right? Mm-hmm. We have a traditional funeral home who then wants to start the side brand of an online business.
Yeah.
And if it's not kind of nurtured, if it's not given the same attention of their funeral home, it eventually kind of just either sits there. They'll use it on occasion to refer families to that maybe can't pay the full price or don't want to pay the full price, or that they're getting some pushback. It's almost like the safety net, but it doesn't grow to what it could be by any means.
Yeah. I kind of call that playing defense, right? You have a well-established funeral home brand, like full service, and the guy down the street with the truck or whatever, however they decide to call it, opens a brand and starts to steal your cases away. And you think, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to create the simple online cremation brand and put a website up, and I'm just going to steal all those customers back, right? And we see that time and time again where people are playing defense, and it's more of a preventative measure more than it is a proactive measure.
Mm-hmm.
But when they come to us, they say, okay, we'll get them the website, we'll get them the arranger, and then they just put it up and say, okay, well, we're not getting any traffic. And a lot of time, what the big mistake is there is that it took how many years for you to establish yourself as a brand in the community. It took you how many relationships and how many in-services and how many community events did you have to attend to get people to know about you. I mean, that same type of effort kind of has to go into growing that brand, especially from scratch, right? You're starting a completely new thing in an industry where no one knows about you, no one cares about you until they need to. And then all of a sudden you expect like people to find you. So I think that's one of the biggest ones that we've learned to overcome as a success metric for us, that we need to know that they have some type of growth plan, you know?
For sure. Yeah. I think that goes right along with, having a growth plan is also like planning. If you're going to have an online focused business, right, where we're expecting customers to be able to interact with us online, they're going to make their arrangements online, they're going to sign their forms online, that you need some kind of presence online as well so that they can have that rapport with you as an online business. If they can see you online, they feel that presence, I think there's much more likelihood there that they feel comfortable with you and having that relationship with you, that you're kind of that trusted brand, versus we've all had this happen, whether it's a funeral home or not, where you'll go to a website and it's like, okay, this probably hasn't been touched in 20 years. Like, I just don't know that they're really up with the times. And that, I think, plays in big, especially with the online businesses.
Or they're not on Google. They don't put their new brand up. They don't establish it as a brand. It's just here in the ether of the internet with the other billions and billions of websites, and someone's supposed to just find you, right? So I think you definitely need that online presence. That is your new storefront. That is your new location. That is your new property. So you need to be there. You need to be active. You need to be proactive about all of that. So another common misconception, right, I think that we really need to talk about is that because you are now offering a pared down service, that you can be completely hands off with the customer.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just, to some extent, I understand the thinking, right? Like, this customer's not coming in-house. They're going to be online. But the idea that they still don't need help, or that we can just kind of be hands off. We can put this online arranger together we can do something on our website that's going to point them in the right direction. A lot of times they still need somebody to kind of connect the dots or to answer questions for them. So it's never a fully like, this is just going to do itself kind of deal. It still requires work. It still requires somebody to answer those phones. That's like a really, really big one that we see is if a business isn't answering their phones, and I would say, well, like if they're not doing it well, it has a massive impact, I think, on the growth of that business.
So one of the things that I was really interested in about is, can you talk about kind of the setup of how you operated at Crown?
Yeah, in regards to like kind of phones and things, or just yeah. So because we had multiple locations, we kind of got into a situation where the phones were a lot to handle with the incoming calls. And so we just kind of set ourselves up for success in the way that we shared those phones between everybody. So if I'm at one location and a phone is ringing at another location, I can still pick it up from my own location so that we could work more as a team.
Yeah.
To say that maybe our metro, our downtown location is probably the busiest just because of where they're at. They might need some more support. So people on, at an outlying location could answer that phone, be able to talk to that customer, whether it's a price shopper or not, give them what they're looking for, but also have that online carry through to our back office where we at every office would also be able to see what's happening with every customer so that it's not only one particular funeral director that can answer the questions for that. And just kind of giving them that, try to answer the questions when they're in front of us rather than having to take messages and go back to somebody.
I think towards the end, didn't you guys almost have like a pseudo call center?
Yeah, so we did. I mean, for a lot of years, we had our own staff answering phones, especially at night. Like we never used a call center. We hired staff to basically answer the phone. So it always felt like more personal, like you were never talking to a call center. But that did grow into like more phone support during the day where we had multiple people answering phones throughout the day. So yeah, it was our call center basically. But they were trained all of the language and terminology that we use. So it always was meant to feel like you were really talking to somebody.
But I mean, they were yours. They weren't like outsourced.
Right. No, yeah, they were ours. Yeah.
They were your team, your employees, your company.
Exactly.
Yeah.